save my family, I gave up my freedom. A paper said I was a wife, but in a big, quiet house, I was not a wife. I was a stranger. This is the story of how I found love in a silent place. My name is Alara. This was not a fairy tale. It was a deal, and it became my life. I married a man to help my poor family. I never saw his face. I only knew his name, Julian. The paper promised my family security. It promised me a beautiful cage. We were two strangers who shared a name. This is our story. Our life was hard. For years, there was no rain. The fields were brown. We had no food. My father was thin and worried. My mother was always quiet and sad. My brother, Leo, and my little sister, Maya, were hungry. Maya drew pictures of big meals on small pieces of wood. Her pictures made me sad. They showed everything we did not have. I had a dream. I wanted to be a teacher. I taught the village children under a big tree. But dreams don't fill empty stomachs. Soon, we had nothing left to sell. There was no food. The sadness in our home was a heavy weight. I felt like I could not breathe. I would do anything to help my family. I just wanted to hear my mother sing again. One day, the village matchmaker, Elder Maeve, came to our door. She spoke to my parents. I listened at the window. She spoke of a rich man in the city. His name was Mr. Julian Blackwood. He wanted a wife. He did not want a big wedding. He wanted a quiet wife. In return, he would pay all my family's debts. He would send them money every month. They would never be hungry again. My father was angry. "You want me to sell my daughter?" he asked. "This is a solution," Elder Maeve said. "It is about survival. The girl will live in a big house. She will have everything. Or she will be owned," my father said. "We know nothing about this man." "He is young and a gentleman," she said. "He is quiet. He wants a wife who will not ask questions." The house was silent, a lifeline. It sounded like a cage to me. But I looked at my sister, Maya. She smiled at me. How could I say no to a future where she would always smile? The choice was made. That night, no one slept. I thought about the man's words. A quiet presence. No questions asked. I would be a ghost in a rich man's house. I would lose my dream of being a teacher. I would lose my freedom. The next morning, my mother gave us a little porridge. Her hands were shaking. My little sister pushed her bowl to me. She said she was not hungry. It was a lie. Her love broke my heart. That was the moment. My choice was clear. "I'll do it," I said. My voice was strong. "Ilara, no," my mother said. "We will find another way." "There is no other way," I said to my father. "I want you to be safe. I want Leo and Maya to be healthy." My father looked at me. His eyes were full of pain. He hugged me. His hug was a goodbye. I was no longer Alara, the village girl. I was a sacrifice. I had to believe it was the right choice. The wedding was not a real wedding. It was in a lawyer's office. My parents were there. They looked sad and lost. I wore a simple blue dress. And he was there, Julian Blackwood. I saw him for the first time. He was young and tall. He wore a dark suit. He had dark hair and sad eyes. He did not look at me. He just gave me a small nod. We did not say vows. We signed papers. I signed my name, Alara. Then I signed my new name, Alara Blackwood. The name felt strange. A lawyer stamped the papers. And just like that, I was married. My mother cried. My father shook Julian's hand. Julian said nothing. A black car was outside. I looked at my parents one last time. Then I got in the car. Julian sat on the other side of the car. The space between us was large and cold. We drove for hours in silence. I watched my green home turn into a gray city. I was in a car with a stranger, going to a life I did not know. We arrived at a mansion. It was a castle of gray stone and dark glass. It was beautiful, but cold. Julian walked to the front doors. He did not wait for me. An older woman in a black uniform opened the door. Her name was Mrs. Gable. "Welcome home, Mr. Blackwood," she said. "Mrs. Gable," Julian said, "this is Alara, my wife. Please show her to her room." He said her room, not our room. Then he walked away. Mrs. Gable led me up a big staircase. Our footsteps were the only sound in the silent house. She opened a door. "This will be your suite," she said. The room was bigger than my whole house. It had a big bed, soft chairs, and a beautiful desk. "Your husband's rooms are in the west wing," Mrs. Gable said. "Dinner is at 8 o'clock. Then she left. I was alone. I looked out the window at the city lights. They were like cold stars. I had everything, but I felt a deep loneliness. I was a prisoner in a palace. The man with the key was a stranger who did not want to look at me. At 8 o'clock, I went to the dining room. The room was very big. A long table had 2 plates, one at each end. Julian was there. He looked at me for a second. I felt something, but it was gone fast. "Good evening," he said. "Please." He pointed to a chair at the far end of the table. We ate. The only sound was our forks and knives. The silence was heavy. I tried to talk. "The house is very large," I said. He looked up. "Yes," he said. He went back to his food. I tried again. "The gardens look beautiful." "Mrs. Gable takes care of them," he said. His answers were short. It was like talking to a wall. The meal ended. He stood up. "Good night," he said. Then he left. I was alone again. I was not his wife. I was just a silent thing in his silent house. Weeks passed. The days were the same. Julian left for work early in the morning. He came home late at night. I walked through the big, empty house. I was a ghost. I found the library. It was a large room with thousands of books. It was the only room that felt warm. I spent my days there. The characters in the books were my only friends. The nights were the hardest. Sometimes Julian was at dinner. We ate in silence. Other nights I ate alone. I was so lonely. I missed my family. I had a letter from my mother. She said they were safe and happy. I saved them, but I was lost. I felt like I was starting to disappear. She felt happy for the first time. The book was a message. Did the book give her hope? Tell me what you think in the comments. If you like Alara's story, please subscribe for more stories. One evening, I was in the library. I was reading a book from my childhood. It was my last piece of home. I did not hear Julian come in. I looked up and saw him. He was watching me. He was not looking at me. He was looking at the old book in my hands. I felt shy and closed the book. He gave a small nod and left. My heart was beating fast. It was the first time he looked at me with interest. The next night, a book was on my table. It was a beautiful new book. It was the same folk tale I was reading. There was no note, just the book. It was a gift. He had noticed me. He saw what was important to me. He did not say a word, but the gift spoke. For the first time, I felt seen. A small seed of hope started to grow in my heart. I wanted to do something. I wanted to make a part of this cold place my own. I found a walled garden behind the house. It was old and full of weeds. It reminded me of myself. I decided to fix it. I found old tools and started to work. My hands hurt, but I felt happy. With my hands in the dirt, I felt like my old self again. I talked to the garden. I hummed old songs. It was my secret world. One evening, I looked up at the house. I saw a shape in a window. It was Julian. He was standing there, watching me. My heart did a little jump. He was not just seeing my books. He was seeing me. The next day, new gardening tools and bags of new soil were by the shed. Again, no note. His silence was not empty anymore. It was watchful. As new green plants started to grow in the garden, I felt something new grow inside me too. A few weeks later, a big storm came. I have always been afraid of storms. The wind was loud. The thunder was deep and shook the house. I was scared. I was in my room. Then, with a loud crack, the lights went out. The house was dark. Panic took me. I felt like a small, scared child. Then I heard a sound. My door opened. A small light came into the room. It was Julian. He was holding a candle. His face looked worried. "Are you all right?" he asked. I could not speak. I just shook my head. He sat in a chair near me. He was a quiet, safe presence in the dark. "I used to be afraid of them too," he said. I looked up, surprised. "My parents died in a car accident," he said. His voice was a whisper. "On a night like this, for years, every storm made me feel that pain again." He told me he was just a boy when they died. He told me about his loneliness. His silence was a wall to protect his heart. For the first time, I saw the real Julian. He was not cold. He was hurt. We sat in the dark for hours. We did not talk much more, but something changed between us forever. In the quiet darkness, we made a connection. Our new peace was tested when Julian's aunt, Beatrice, came to visit. She was a tall, cold woman with sharp eyes. We were having tea. Beatrice looked at my simple dress. "So," she said, "you are the little village girl Julian has found." I felt my face get hot. I looked at Julian, but his face was hard to read. "Is it a big change for you?" she asked. "Do you even know which fork to use?" Her words were cruel. I felt so small. Then Julian spoke. His voice was calm but strong. "Alara is my wife, Beatrice," he said. "She is the lady of this house. You will treat her with respect." Beatrice was shocked. He continued, "Her past is not your business. She belongs here now. If you cannot accept that, do not visit again." He chose my side. He chose me not as a thing he owned, but as his partner. After she left, I stood by the window. "Thank you," I whispered to Julian. He nodded. Then he gently touched my arm. It was the first time he touched me. The touch was light, but I felt a warmth go through me. "No one speaks to my wife that way," he said softly. "My wife." This time, the words sounded like a promise. After his aunt's visit, things changed. The silence between us was now comfortable. We started to eat our meals sitting closer. We talked about our day. One evening, I tried to cook a meal for him. It was a stew his mother used to make. But I was a bad cook. I made a huge mess. I burned the bread. Black smoke came from the oven. I stood in the messy kitchen, about to cry. Julian walked in. He looked at the smoke, the mess, and me. I waited for him to be angry. Instead, he started to laugh. It was a deep, happy laugh. It was the most beautiful sound. His eyes were full of joy. I was surprised. Then I started to laugh too. We stood in the smoky kitchen and laughed and laughed. "What were you trying to do?" he asked, smiling. "I tried to make your mother's stew," I said. He smiled and wiped some flour from my cheek. His touch was soft. "Let's clean this up," he said. We worked together, side by side. We talked and laughed. For the first time, I was truly happy here. Later, Julian ordered pizza. We ate it sitting on the clean kitchen floor. The big, cold mansion finally felt like a home. That night, we talked for hours. I told him about my dream of being a teacher. I said I thought I had lost that dream forever. He listened. Then he told me about his life. He told me about the pressure of his family's business. "I never wanted this," he said. "I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to build happy places for people." He said he was so busy, he forgot to build a life for himself. He was afraid to connect with people. "I was scared when you came here," he said. "I was afraid you would hate this empty house and this empty man." "I was afraid too," I whispered. "I was afraid you would be cruel." "Never," he said. "From the first day I saw you, you were never just a possession." The last walls between us fell down. We were not a rich man and a poor girl. We were two lonely people who found each other. We were Julian and Alara, and we were finally seeing each other. A few weeks later, Julian had a surprise. He took me to a locked part of the house. He opened the door. Inside, the old rooms were now a bright, happy classroom. There were small tables, chairs, and shelves full of books. "What is this?" I asked. "You said you wanted to be a teacher," Julian said, smiling. "I thought you could start here." He told me he made a plan with a local center. I could teach poor children from the city in our home. Tears of joy ran down my face. He didn't just hear my dream, he helped me build it. I started my little school the next week. The sound of children's laughter now filled the quiet halls. Julian often watched from the door. He would show the children the flowers in my garden. I was a teacher. My dream came back to me, bigger than before. It was all because of the quiet stranger I married. Months later, Julian said, "Let's go visit your family." My heart was full of joy. The car ride was happy. We held hands. My family ran out to meet us. My mother was humming. My father looked proud. Leo and Maya were healthy. They all welcomed Julian with warm smiles. My family saw that I was not a sacrifice anymore. They saw I was in love. Julian was different here. He was not the quiet man from the city. He listened to my mother's stories. He helped my father fix a fence. He was kind to my sister. That evening, we walked under the stars. "Now I understand," he said softly. "I understand the light you brought into my silent world." He leaned in and kissed me. It was a kiss that sealed our promise. In the heart of my old world, our new life began. We returned to the mansion. It was not a cold fortress anymore. It was our home. The walls were filled with laughter and love. Julian started to draw his own buildings. My teaching certificates were on the wall. We were not two strangers with a contract. We were partners. We found each other in the quiet moments. Love can grow in strange places. Sometimes it whispers. It is found in a shared silence, a gift of a book, a safe feeling in a storm. We learned that the best love is not forced. It grows slowly. Our story was not a fairy tale. It was real and precious. It was ours. Thank you for joining me on this emotional journey. If Alara and Julian's story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories. What did you learn from their story? Share your thoughts below. Keep your heart open, and we'll see you in the next story.